Before we get started, remember, don't listen to some random dude on YouTube. Do your own research. If you live in the state of Florida, I have some good news. They finally updated their old unemployment system. Before, it could only have 20,000 people on it at one time. Pretty sad, huh? But now, they've upgraded it. It can handle 120,000 people at the same time now. So now you have a better chance of being able to apply. Speaking of unemployment, what's this? Oh! Unemployment money! Yay! Hey guinea pigs, look! Now I can get you a bunch of carrots and peppers. No comment. Let's talk about stock crashes throughout history and see if we can figure out what's going to happen during this current crash that we've just experienced based on what's happened in the past. During the 1918 Spanish flu crash, there were two crashes. You see here, this is where it started. It was a little over 100, and then it dropped down here to maybe about 75, and then it went back up to about 130. This is where the real crash happened, because it was even more the second time. It went from about 130 at the peak down to about 70 on the bottom, which was about a 46% loss. But then after the Spanish flu was over, everybody felt safe again to come out, and actually during that time the people were ordered to stay inside, kind of like we are now. It was pretty much the same situation, but even worse for them because they didn't have the internet and stuff like that, so they were very limited to what they could do inside. They were probably reading books or something like that, or playing with their kids if they had kids. Definitely different times. So you can see here, quickly after that happened, they said it was around 1922, which was when the people felt safe to go out again and the economy started to function again. Then the stock shot back up again, and it had a little fall here. Who knows what this was here, just people selling for some reason. And then right here you got the Roaring 20s, right before 1929, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Huge spike up. So the 1929 crash, the peak was about 375, and this is why they say this is the worst crash in history, because the crash brought it down from 375 to virtually zero. So the loss was 90% plus. And you see right here, shortly after, there was a small rise, which was probably just from pumpers. They were going to pump it, and then right here, they dumped it. Even back then, we've had those pumpers and dumpers. And then it went down again a little bit, and then here we got the recovery finally. And one of the reasons we had the 1929 crash was because people were investing their savings, or they were getting loans, which propped up the prices to unsustainable levels. So the prices were basically artificially high. So there had to be a correction. People just kept buying in because of the greed thing. They see the price go up, they think they're going to miss out, so they borrowed or used their savings or whatever to get in, which made the price keep going up and up. You see here, it took about 25 years for the Dow Jones to get back to the maximum 1929 level it was at right here. 25 years. You got some people saying this mess we're in now, it could take that long for it to recover to where it was, which was right around 30,000. Now we're going to look at the 2008 crash. You can see on the chart you got lots of ups. You got ups, downs, ups, 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 downs, but they're pretty small. Then you have right here is where we got the drop. And when this started, it was at about, the peak was about 14,000. And then it dropped to about 6,600. And the percentage loss was around 53%. And then of course, just like in the previous charts, right after the, well, not right after, but within a few years after, this started to go up again. Which actually this went up a lot faster than it did before, where it took 25 years for it to recover. Now I'm assuming that was probably because they did the bailouts too, which gave the company money. This is the 2020 crash that we just experienced due to the COVID-19, the coronavirus situation, which is pretty bad. Just like the Spanish flu, very similar to that. At the peak, it was at 28,992, and it dropped to roughly 18,590, which is about a 36% drop. Some individual companies have lost over 50% on this crash. Dow Jones did a lot better at only 36%. Here are the charts condensed together. Got the Spanish flu right around here. It had pretty much two crashes because it recovered a little bit and then it went down again. And then here we got right after the crash, it starts to go back up again, which went really high. And as we've seen here, when it goes really high and there's a really bad crash. And then it goes up again. And that's what happened in the 2008. It was really high. And then bam, 2009, crash. And then now, in 2020, it was even higher. So, and then we got the crash again. If you compare it right here, you see in 2020 here, there's a crash, and then there's a short rise right after the crash. And you see here, there's a little rise after the crash. See here, there's a little rise right after the crash. That seems kind of suspicious. That's probably pumpers and dumpers. Based on history here, that's what could be happening. See, you see, right after there's a rise and a fall, and then there's a rise, then shortly after there's a fall again, within a few years. So this short rise that we've had from the big fall could turn into another fall, unfortunately.